Great. Okay. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for coming. Boy, it feels good to be back together again, face to face. It's been a while, and welcome also to people who are joining us by Zoom. Where would we be without Zoom? I'm Ned Scharf. I'm president of the Athenaeum of Philadelphia, and it is my great honor to host this 207th anniversary of our annual meeting of shareholders, along with Dr. Beth Hessel, our dynamic executive director. A year ago, we unveiled our strategic plan for the Athenaeum, which is the first such plan we've had, certainly within memory. As most of you know, our plan is a detailed roadmap for making the Athenaeum more welcoming, more useful, more vibrant, and more central to your lives as shareholders and to the cultural life of our community. In a couple of minutes, Beth will outline the remarkable progress we're making towards these goals, notwithstanding all the roadblocks imposed by COVID. Our membership is growing, both in numbers and diversity. Our programs are more varied and compelling than they've ever been, in my humble opinion. And our resources, financial, material, intellectual, are better aligned with our mission, vision, and values in ways we'll be telling you about. But first, a reminder of the Athenaeum's mission. There it is. It's to nurture curiosity in members and neighbors and strengthen our community through learning, discourse, and meaningful engagement. In other words, the Athenaeum exists to enrich your life and the life of our city, to help us engage each other in a life of the mind. We were founded in 1814 to provide our members with access to books and what our founders called back then, air quotes, useful information, which made us a kind of a Google of the first half of the 19th century. Things have changed. Books and periodicals are not so difficult to access anymore. But today, the greater challenge is really finding other people to share our interests and enthusiasms, people with whom we can engage and explore books and ideas. That's exactly what we've all been missing so much during the COVID era. And it's why we have so much to celebrate this evening. The ability to come together, to lift our glasses again, thank you, Total Wines and Liquors, to greet each other and to talk together after so many long months apart. We have some exciting developments to talk about tonight, as well as a couple of business items that will need your approval. But first, let's get to the exciting stuff. Beth, may we have your executive director's report?
Thank you, Ned, and thanks to Ned. I know he thanked the liquor store for providing the wine, but thank you to Ned for his generosity in helping to underwrite this event. 150 people are here. A reception for 150 people. We have not done that in more than 2 years. So thank you to Ned for his generosity in underwriting. If any of you do not know me, I think most of you, if you haven't seen me in person, have probably seen my face on Zoom at some point over the last few years. If you do not know me, I'm Beth Hessel, the executive director. It is my honor and delight to serve you. It's been almost 3 years now. None of us had any idea that we were going to be entering a global crisis for 2 years and counting, less than 7-8 months after I started here. So I'm grateful to all of you for your continued support and encouragement. It is indeed a joy to welcome you to the 207th annual meeting of the Athenaeum of Philadelphia. It's such a joy to see each of you who are here. I wish I could see the faces of the 50 or 60 or so who are gathered on Zoom. I can't see your faces, but I'm glad you're with us as well. The staff and I share the board's pleasure in presenting you with hopeful and positive news about our beloved institution, and then celebrating and reconnecting at our first big reception in more than 2 years. And for that, for more than 20 years, we enjoy day by day as our caterers. They have gone out of business. But we are thrilled tonight to have 12th Street Catering with us. And I hope when you're in there, you thank the staff, Carolyn and Greg, Justin, Siddiqui, Laurel, and Melinda, who are here to serve us. So many thanks in advance to 12th Street Catering for bringing us our reception tonight. Before I start with my report, I also have other thanks to give. I'd like to thank and welcome our board members who are here tonight. Some of them are on Zoom, but some of them are here in person. I'm going to ask you to stand so that everybody can thank you for the work you have done in shepherding our institution the last several years. Please, board members, new and incoming and long time. I'd also like to salute our hardworking staff. Some of them are here in the room. Stand and give a wave if you are here, if you're a staff member. There are some faces you've been seeing for 40 years and some that you may just be meeting tonight. And be sure to greet them and thank them as well for all that they have been doing the last few years since we were last together. I also want to thank the many volunteers who service behind the scene on committees as transcribers and work in collections and getting our new website going and all the other many ways that they've helped you. I want to thank you. And if you are a volunteer at the Athenaeum, please stand so we can thank you as well. Our volunteers are shy. Come on, Michael. We have a few people. Come on, David. Committee members. There are a few other. Our volunteers are too modest. I see others out here in this crowd who are not standing up. Thank you, every one of you. We couldn't do it without volunteers. Finally, I'd like to welcome our newest shareholders. Some of you are here. If you joined in the last year, I invite you to stand so we can welcome you. We are so pleased to know that our membership continues to grow. And so we have listing, some are here tonight, some are virtual, and some were not able to attend, but I'm gonna kind of go through this list so you can see. Maybe you'll see a friend and you can call them and say, hey, I didn't know you joined the Athenaeum. Come to a program with me. Welcome to all of these. And then, you know, what's amazing to me is that in the midst of a pandemic, we continue to get people saying, I want to be a shareholder of this institution. Some of you joined sight unseen, and that is something really amazing about who we are. So welcome. Well, back in 1814, a band of young men, it took a while longer for a band of young women to join these young men who were not so young by then. But back in 1814, a band of young men, mostly emerging lawyers and merchants who were bent on partnering with the established Philadelphia leaders to shape the cultural landscape of this bustling city, they started a little library and reading room in some rented rooms above a bookstore on Chestnut Street. They outgrew that space, they moved to over another bookstore, and they outgrew that space and they rented some rooms at the American Philosophical Society. And then they said, let's build our own building, which 175 years ago became this space. Their aim with the Athenaeum was the pursuit of excellence and honor and usefulness. Who dreams of that anymore? That's pretty wonderful, right? Excellence and honor and usefulness. And with the Athenaeum, they hope to create a, quote, common place, a convenient place of common resort in which their leisure hours could be passed without danger to morals or tastes. I love that too. These were young men, remember, unmarried young men. They needed a place to gather with their other guy friends and talk about the cute girls that they wanted to go out with. To accomplish their goals, the Athenaeum leadership moved from one location to another and finally building this beautiful Italianate revival style building, which we now enjoy, with the aim of providing room for conversation, room for reading, and room for lectures on a variety of topics related to the many literary, historical, and scientific developments of their day. For the past nearly 3 years, since the board brought me on to serve as your executive director, and I probably just clicked that thing and changed pages. There we go. On the slide thing. We have sought, the board and the staff and I, to honor the desires of our founders as they find expression in a world that has changed tremendously, and in a city that still teems with cultural and intellectual curiosity. A city with residents who now, after years of isolation because of the pandemic, yearn more than ever for a wonder-inspiring, convenient place of common resort, where we can find companionship for both our questions and our explorations of our world. A place, to quote another founder, to turn aside occasionally from the bustle and the strife, the fever and the competition of this busy and sordid world of ours, in order to enjoy arts and literature, a game of chess, a cup of tea, a little conversation, and a lot of learning. Now, perhaps I should nuance this and say, we have sought not just to honor the desires of our founders, but the intersecting desires of you, our current members, and the many Philadelphians who, like you, are seeking such a place as this. So we have spent the past 3 years listening to you through focus groups and surveys, through one-on-one conversations, and we have sought to be partners with you in creating a vibrant and welcoming space for members, new and old, and for our neighbors who share our love of learning and community. We have listened to you, and here are some of the things we have taken away and what we have done with that listening. First, you have asked us for more programs of a wider diversity and timing, and we listened. In 2021, we provided 122 programs. Was anybody aware it was quite that many? You knew, looking at these, a lot of programs. From our evening speaker series featuring authors and scholars from as near as the University of Pennsylvania and as far away as Australia, to our noontime series focusing on projects coming out of research in the Athenaeum's own magnificent collections. From Eric Simonis's popular Le Cercle Français to book clubs and classes. From gallery talks to First Fridays, and to visits to other organizations and spots, from the ever popular movie matinees with Carrie Rickey to intimate chamber music concerts, to our first annual Sunday in the Square concert in Washington Square. How many of you attended that? That was amazing, wasn't it? Put on your calendar September 18th for this year. We're redoing it. We had 450 people there. Attendance at all of our virtual programs and our in-person programs in the evening and during the daytime totaled more than 5,000 people in 2021. And thousands more have taken advantage of the recordings of the programs that are on our new website. So we listened. Secondly, you have asked for hours that are convenient for people who work during the week. And we listened. In October 2021, we added Monday evenings and Saturdays to our hours, and we hired 2 fabulous part-time staff and a substitute worker to help with those added hours, so your staff who is currently here full-time Monday through Friday wouldn't be completely burned out by also being here every single Saturday. And they're fabulous staff. They're here tonight. Make sure you greet them. So in the final 3 months of 2021, more than 200 people made use of those extra Saturdays. to explore our exhibits, to check out books, or to enjoy a quiet place to work or read. And those numbers continue in this new year. We listened. Third, you have asked for more variety in our books that are available to check out, and we have listened. We recognize that the many closures and changes and isolation of the pandemic years have made access to the worlds that we discover in books more vital than ever. So our selection of books continues to grow. We hear you when you say you want certain books, and if we can, we order those for you. We've been dealing with supply chain issues like everybody else, even in the publishing industry. And our partnership with the University of Pennsylvania Library remains strong. That is a wonderful benefit that you as shareholders get. If you did not have it through the Athenaeum, you'd spend $400 or $450 a year, I think, to get a library card at the University of Pennsylvania. So this is a wonderful, wonderful benefit that we have. This past fall, we changed our ebook vendor to Cloud Library, and almost everybody who has used it said this app works so much better than our earlier one. And when you want a book, we can order it and it'll be there in a snap, no delay. And we, as part of that, joined a consortium of libraries that now makes more than 800,000 ebooks and audiobooks available to you. We had maybe 5,000 or 6,000 beforehand, so this is a huge jump. We've also begun working on a circulating library for juvenile and young adult readers in order to better serve our member families whose children and grandchildren are as enraptured by the historical power and beauty of the Athenaeum as are every single one of us. And we're excited for that to grow the next generation of Athenaeum members so that we continue strong. We've listened. Fourth, during the pandemic, you longed for a place other than your home where you would feel safe. And we listened. After some fits and starts, we were able to fully open our doors in February 2021, and we have not closed them since. Not many other institutions in town can say that. From the pandemic start in March 2020, the staff worked overtime in order to institute the highest level of safety and health precautions, and you responded. In 2021, we averaged 500 visitors and users in our building every single month. For many of you, we became a home away from home. And allowing us to provide this to you has made our staff incredibly happy. It's so much more fun to come into work and see your faces than just our own every single day. So thank you. More than that, you have supported the Athenaeum with your dues and your gifts throughout the pandemic, expressing your hope through your donations that our beloved institution would survive even as the future of so many institutions has tottered under the weight of this global crisis. So we listened with gratitude to your support, and we have done everything in our power to ensure that the Athenaeum has not only survived, but has thrived. I want you to know that the Athenaeum, and you'll hear it in our Treasures Report, that our Athenaeum is moving with vigor into a better future. From expanded services to improved communications, including a new mission-aligned branding and our new website, to the deep commitment of our staff to our strategic plan, which calls for us to be outward-facing, committing our time, our invaluable collections, and our building to your service, and to the service of a better and stronger Philadelphia. It's been amazing to me and a very humbling experience for me that even as membership in so many cultural institutions here in Philadelphia and around the country has declined, the Athenaeum held steady, gaining new members even as we lost dear friends to death or relocation or changed circumstances. In the past 4 months, we have experienced a resurgence, welcoming as many new members per month, about 20 to 25, as we used to welcome in a quarter. They're finding us and realizing what a special place this is. In fact, in 2021, despite all the challenges we faced, the Athenaeum came only one member, and I don't know who that one member is. We got to find that one member shy of beating the record that was set in our bicentennial year back in 2014. We had 115 new members this last year. There were 116 in 2014. Between 2014 and 2021, we didn't come close to making that. So we are on a path towards sustainability. It's really amazing. The energy and vitality present in our building is wonderful. 5, you have expressed your love for our historic building, and we listened because we, the staff and the board, love this building too. This past year, we applied for and received, after several years in the works, a $1.3 million grant from the William B. Dietrich Foundation to restore the exterior of our building. Yes. They're waiting on the permits, and soon you're going to see scaffolding going up outside. It's going to be about a 4-month process with scaffolding and fun, but it's going to be so beautiful afterwards. And in the reception, you're going to see a screen, and KieranTimberlake Conservation has created a presentation so you can get an idea of all that is going to happen with it. Having replaced our aging roof in December, and we're going to have a slideshow here afterwards also, so you can see some of the highlights of the year, including our old roof and our new roof, because not many people get up there to see the new roof. One of our members has the penthouse across the street, and she can get a great view of the roof. So having replaced our aging roof in December, and after several years of careful conversations with the state and local historical commissions, we are ready to start this 4-month restoration process with the award-winning team of KieranTimberlake Conservation, which will ensure the beauty and structural soundness of our landmark for years to come. Finally, like our founders, you have begged for space to sit comfortably in order to read a book or the news while sipping your coffee or your tea. You have asked for intimate, welcoming space for small gatherings of friends and members to converse. You have asked for better access to books and a well-lighted place to while away the day while you delve into them. And you have asked for adequate electrical outlets. We only have 2 in the reading room. And lighting and seating in the reading room so that you can sit and write your next novel. We have a lot of authors who work here. It is amazing. Or work in what we would all agree is hands down the most beautiful, most awe-inspiring space in Philadelphia, the reading room. Wouldn't you all agree? Yes. You've asked for all of this. From my very first week at the Athenaeum, I heard you all come to me and asking for all of these things, and you've continued to make it clear this is what you want. And so the board has listened. So the Athenaeum's board has teamed with one of Philadelphia's most esteemed architectural firms, which, I mean, we're an organization that focuses on architectural collections in our special collections. So we know there are a lot of really esteemed and amazing architectural firms in Philadelphia, but we picked one of the best to envision with us a stunning enhancement of our space. Enhancements that address these desires for space, for conversation, for reading, for work and research, and for engagement with art and literature and our collections and with one another. We've engaged in countless conversations and iterations with our architects, with one another, with the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission, with staff, and many of you as we created a plan that honors and builds on the beauty, history, and legacy of what exists in this building, with simple enhancements that we believe you will agree will enable the Athenaeum to better meet not only the original hopes of the founders, but also the needs of today. So it's with great pleasure that I get to introduce to you Tonight, the marvelous team at KieranTimberlake, who has taken our hopes and our dreams and put them onto paper so we can make them a reality. Founded in 1984, KieranTimberlake brings together the experience and talents of close to 100 professionals of diverse backgrounds and abilities in a practice that is recognized worldwide. KieranTimberlake's projects include the programming, planning, and design of new structures, as well as the conservation, renovation, and transformation of existing buildings with special expertise in education, government, arts, and culture, that's us, civic and residential projects. Common to all of KieranTimberlake's work is that each project begins with a question and continues its development within a culture of continuous asking, ensuring that design results from deep investigation. The firm is committed not only to delivering the highest qualities of service to its clients, but also to pursuing ideas that push the practice of architecture forward. KieranTimberlake has received hundreds of design citations, including the Firm Award from the American Institute of Architects in 2008 and the Cooper Hewitt National Design Award for Architecture from the Smithsonian Institution in 2010. In 2021, they won many more accolades, including the 35th Louis I. Kahn Award from the Center for Architecture and Design and the AIA Pennsylvania Medal of Distinction. We're in good hands. Working on the Athenaeum project have been KieranTimberlake co-founder Stephen Kieran, partner Matthew Crissell, principals Tim Peters and Andrew Cronin, and staff member Leah Kendrick. And they are a delight to work with. They listen carefully and they show a reverent respect for our historic space and pay attention to the many ways our building's interior has changed over the past 175 years as they have designed responses to the needs for our present day. So without waiting any longer, I want to invite forward Matt Crissell to make the presentation for KieranTimberlake. Let us welcome them.
Right, I promised Tess I wouldn't screw this up here. See if I can get this. So, well, thank you, Beth. That was an incredible introduction and just an incredible way to start this evening. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Architecture, of course, is not an endeavor of one or a few, but one of many. So thank you to the board, to the staff, to the members who've participated, the feedback we received. Steve Kieran is here tonight, with Leah and myself. Andrew could not be here tonight, but we also have many others as part of our team that I wanted to make sure you all get a chance to see and recognize as part of our design team. We've put together a wonderful group here. Folks like Meg Rogers, who's leading the interior design, engineers Bruce Brooks and Keaston Hood for services and structural, as well as the lighting practice for some of the lighting design. So you may know some, you may know many, but I just want to make sure it is an endeavor of many for sure. So I'm going to talk through a little bit about leading from as Beth kind of outlined. We've targeted some very careful, meaningful, and impactful projects across the first floor, second floor, and third floor. And then Leah's going to walk through a video. She's going to take us into the fourth dimension of time. So we'll get a chance to actually move through some of these spaces. And for some who had a chance to walk around earlier, you'll notice we have some boards up. If you didn't get a chance to see them, you'll see them afterwards. We have some renderings up. We have some actual material samples, so you get a chance to look and feel and touch some of the fabrics and samples that we're proposing. But there's also a QR code. For those who have a smartphone, you'll be able to also engage and clicking on it and being able to through virtual reality, be able to interact and see in the space that you're standing what the space will actually look like. So it'll be wonderful. I'm happy to help you afterwards if you need to with that. But so to step forward, building off of the strategic plan, building off of the goals, working closely with the Athenaeum, we really started to build a series of key design drivers for these targeted projects, that where to begin. And it is important to think about, what does it mean? How does architecture and interior design begin to really facilitate and foster the kind of welcoming aspirations that the Athenaeum wants to continue to evolve towards? Building community, creating those wonderful spaces to host the kind of programming, creating spaces that are for the informal as well as the formal, for the spontaneous, for the stewardship of the building. And last but not least, creating wonderful workplaces for the dedicated staff so they can do their best work as well and continue to move everyone forward. So these are the floor plans of the building currently as it stands. Working left to right is the basement all the way up to level 3. And we're going to talk about these focused areas. In particular, the way to begin is one that wanted to really start at the front door. So you see this area on the left here, level 1, right at that front door, as Beth mentioned, a chance to turn what is essentially now 3 or 4 private offices into an open public reception and lounge space. That, coupled with the new entry hall, which will be able to display and exhibit work differently, is also a minor renovation to the Haas Gallery. New lighting, being able to open the window out to the park. So you may or may not realize this, but that window shown there out to the park is closed up right now to create more surface area to present work. These 2 windows on both sides, from one leading into a private office now and one that is covered up, will be opened up. And for the first time, we'll be able to create that dialogue with the city, with the park, with that outside to inside, the chance for people to be able to glimpse in and see all the wonderful things that are happening at the Athenaeum. And vice versa, when you're in those spaces, you remain connected and engaged to the city outside. Up on level 2 in the reading room, as Beth said, really a chance to bring some wonderful new amenities, some new and improved lighting to enhance that idea of browsing, to create task lighting. So when you're sitting at a desk, you can see and understand the work that you're looking at. Create different types of seating and furniture, as well as the additional outlets, which will be welcomed by many. And then lastly, on the top floor, the staff work environment. We'll show you some examples of what that looks like and how to kind of complete and advance that work forward. So at that sense of welcoming, this entryway, creating that new identity, that conversation with the city, that presence on the street. There'll also be a new library book return in the gallery, a chance to kind of reimagine how exhibitions are done relative to the way in which the work is presented. It'll both simplify the operations, but present the work in a better way. And of course, pardon the bad pun, but put the work in great light, right? Put it in its best light going forward through new lighting. The reception hall will be improved, and that reception lounge space, welcoming administrative desk, people will be there, a place for members to gather, for visitors, for guests, to display the different collections and create different places for people to organize and interact. So here's a couple of views. Here's that window to the left of the front door and the image on the right. That chance to be able to look inside. Again, not a private office, but you're going to see a public space, a space that might draw you in. You might see your friend who you just now realize is there as a member and you're drawn into, or even the windows that run along St. James, being able to now, again, not private offices, but a collective space, a space for the public, a space for members, a space for people to gather, to interact, to create that conversation. As you come in the front door, completely clearing out the kind of entry space, reimagining that as a space that can actually present work, display more work, expand your gallery expansion spaces. And you see as you come in, you glance to the left, you're going to see someone, perhaps it's Tess, perhaps it's somebody else at a desk that welcomes you as you arrive. Here's the section, a drawing that we call section cut through from that hallway looking back. Currently right now is 3 offices. The park is out the window to the left and the Bonaparte room on the right. And it'll be transformed by removing those 3 walls and opening that space up. You will now be able to sit by the mantle. You'll be able to look out the window to the park, have the light and views of St. James coming into that space. And then you can see the range of different furniture, the different experiences created there for people to gather in small groups as an individual, or to be able to sit at a desk and engage in a conversation. The beverage station is off to the right. You will notice these 2 chandeliers are being refurbished. They are currently in the Haas Gallery. We're going to be taken out, refurbished, and brought into the lounge space here, as well as additional furniture that is now currently in storage. Some wonderful Paul Philippe Cray pieces sitting in storage are going to be pulled out of storage and brought in, and now are going to be accessible on display and used as part of the Athenaeum experience. Here's a view standing back towards that beverage station, looking back towards the window out to the park. And this is a planned perspective view, this idea of the sequence of rooms, how the Haas Gallery and the lounge and reception space working together, being able to support different types of exhibitions and gatherings, and the entryway here in the middle. And you get a sense of some of the materials, the samples. You'll see some of the real ones on the boards, as I mentioned, a mix of using some existing furniture, some new furniture to create different types of comfort and accessibility, but really rich, warm, and textured fabrics and materials. And here's a view of the Haas Gallery. Again, that window, which is just covered up, being revealed, historically renovated, and getting that connection back to the park and the new lighting. That sense of community, as was discussed, the reading room, one of the spectacular rooms within the city, creating those additional areas to sit and read, those improved conditions for research and writing, areas for both quiet conversations and flexibility to support other types of events, lectures, concerts. It's important also to always look back and see that this room has been one that has evolved over time. It has changed shape. It has tried to adapt and conform to different needs and wants and what it's asked to do. It's always still in that special space that we have. Well, there's been other types of ways in which the books have been displayed and the furniture has been arranged. The opportunity here is to really build off what makes it spectacular and just enhance a few of those key amenities, that improved lighting, that improved seating. That chance for when you come in, this is a custom piece. You'll see a mock-up in there. We've made a cardboard mock-up of this piece here in the foreground as we started to look at a custom piece for how new books and periodics can be displayed. And the proximity of the librarian desk moving closer for that initial welcome and hello. And a wonderful section view. The windows overlooking the garden, different types of soft seating, a different type of gathering and organization for people as you move from the entry in the left all the way to the progression towards the garden. And lastly, I'll finish up on that third floor. These are the spaces where the staff are working right now. They are incredibly dedicated. They have figured out a way to work amongst what is essentially an unfinished space. And the commitment here is to let's finish the space. Let's make this a wonderful place to come to work. Let's make this a wonderful place for them to do their best work. And so with that, Leah.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to take you on a journey through the Athenaeum. So we begin our walk through the Athenaeum on the corner of St. James Street and North 6th Street. You can see, as Matt touched on, that you can see into the windows of the lounge. Here we approach the main entry off of North 6th Street. You can see as we pass through the vestibule on your left will be a built-in book return so that there's easy and convenient access for those looking to drop off their books. From the hallway, we enter into the lounge and reception. And those that are entering the space can see Tessa and Natalie working at their station, ready to welcome you and greet you. Here we rotate over to the coffee kiosk where one can pick up refreshments and then sit down at any of these soft seating arrangements. Here we're walking towards Washington Square Park. I would also like to note that in this video, the furniture that you're seeing is not accurate to what has actually been specified by Meg Rogers Interior Design. Those you'll find on the boards throughout the building. Here we're in the Haas Gallery. We're rotating out towards Washington Square Park and the new window that's being revealed, sorry, the existing window that's being reopened up. And then here we're walking back into the hallway. You can see another existing window that's being opened up for views into the stairwell of the Grand Central Stair. And here we're walking back into the hallway where we're rotating back out and a view to the park. We then make our journey up to level 2 to the Grand Reading Room. Here we're walking in, and at the entry you can see the book display that we have custom designed. So there will be 2 of those in the space adjacent to the librarian on your left. And walking in, you'll see that we have reused a lot of the hexagonal tables that are currently situated there today. There will be outlets that are mounted underneath for easy accessibility to plug in any technology as you work at the space. There will also be task lighting for each table at each station as people sit and relax, read, and write. And here we're walking back out towards the entry near the main stairwell. Thank you.
Matt, Leah, thank you very much for that spectacular taste of what we are going to experience. To echo Beth, these changes address a number of things our members have been asking for a very long time in a way that's entirely consistent with our legacy and our history. But let me just take a couple of minutes and contextualize. And I also want to say a word or two about how we're going to pay for these enhancements. First, the context. We recognized several years ago that we needed to enhance some of our building's internal spaces in order to enable activities that our membership had been asking for a very long time. We did a careful search of architectural firms. We interviewed several, and we wound up hiring sorry.
Keep going.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
a slide woman today, so
Okay.
you can ignore me there.
A premier firm, KieranTimberlake, and I have to say, I don't think we could have done better. We asked them to take a comprehensive, holistic look at the way we use and allocate our building space. They did a deep dive into not only how this building and this institution are used, but also what we aspire to. One reason we like KieranTimberlake so much is their obvious sensitivity to what people love about this place. The architecture, of course, but also the institution's historic place in our city's cultural landscape. As you've seen, KieranTimberlake's approach is not to change things for the sake of changing them. It's to enhance and build upon what's here, what people really treasure about the physical building, about the spirit of the institution. The conceptual work they've done for us is both comprehensive and holistic, and the project they've laid out tonight is a result. The plan does not encompass every improvement that we might envision or want to make someday, but it's a very, very significant first step. It's a step that I believe, will be transformative in terms of our members' use and enjoyment of the Athenaeum. And it's fully consistent. It goes lockstep with our mission and our vision. It enhances both substantially. So how are we going to pay for this? Our board has authorized a $1.5 million building campaign, and we're confident that we can raise that amount. One reason for that confidence, Beth mentioned, is the $1.3 million grant that from the William B. Dietrich Foundation. Thank you, William B. Dietrich Foundation, for your vote of confidence. And also because of the 5 to 6 figure grant that Beth mentioned that will kickstart this campaign. But I should add that we very much need your support, along with support from the broader community. We want to make improvements that allow us to play a more significant, more rewarding role in our city's cultural landscape and in your life. So let me thank you tonight for asking for these things. As Beth said a number of times, you asked for things and we listened. We listened because you were talking about things that would make us a more responsive institution and a more vital one. We're excited and eager to get going on this campaign, on this project. And we hope you will share in our excitement. And right now, Beth and I and Matt and Leah will be happy to take some questions or comments. We have a lot more to get through tonight, so we should probably limit the question comment period to a few minutes, but later on we will answer any questions, field any comments that you have. We'll find the right venue for that.
think people can ask questions. And Ned is mic'd and Matt is mic'd, and I'll be here, and any question is asked, I will repeat it through the microphone, so everybody can hear the question. And Rob in the back is managing Zoom, and so if anybody on Zoom has questions, you can put them in the chat, and he's going to text them to me. We're using high tech here, so that we can make sure questions from our members who are watching on Zoom can be answered as well.
Cordelia.
To say, I think this is wonderful and so needed, and to be able to open us up to the city and have people look in and us look out and welcome you. Thank you. Thank you. It was a vote in affirmation for what we are doing and the capacity to help us be able to look into the city and the city look in and have that interaction. So thank you.
Yeah. So glad you asked that.
That is a great, so the bids are out now. The board is going to help cover the costs as we raise money with reserves and then put back into the reserves, the funds as we raise them for the campaign. The proposals are out right now. So we hope to soon be able to choose a contractor. We hope to begin this in June. And then to be able to finish it, October 15th is our deadline. We told the contractors who came through, because October 22nd is going to be a big celebration here. It's the 175th anniversary of this building. So, yes. So there may be a punch list left to go, but we want the project to be done so we can be back in the building enjoying the refurbished exterior and the refined, enhanced interior in a huge celebration on October 22nd. So you have 2 days to put on your calendars. September 18th is our second concert in Washington Square. October 22nd, there's going to be a party here. For you to know, a question to follow up with that, we have told the contractors who are considering bidding that we want this all done at one time. The building will be closed during that construction. That's to minimize. Anybody who's done the construction in their homes knows it's just pain. We want to minimize the length of pain. The staff, however, once we know for sure when we're going to be closed down, we'll let you know. We have our ebooks. We encourage everybody to get their ebook apps going with the staff beforehand. Jill is planning out ways to take some books home so she can mail books to you. Not all the books. University of Pennsylvania, you can request books and pick them up at the University of Pennsylvania. We will have virtual programs. We will have trips and tours elsewhere. And we are also thinking and looking at other institutions near here where we might be able to hold small groups. If the weather's nice, my book club, I think we'll just bring chairs out to Washington Square and sit out there. So we are working overtime also in staff to figure out all the logistics and make sure that you are still feeling us present with you when you can't come physically here in person. And then when we're open, it's going to be amazing. You'll be able to bring your laptop and plug it in if you need to do your work and write that best-selling novel or important history, or come here and actually get a cup of good coffee and sit and read the periodicals downstairs or meet a friend. So that's the timeline.
Yes.
So there's also, there's the project, but there's also going to be you're going to be asking for donations. Yes.
Correct.
Carrie asked, so there's the project, but there also is a campaign related to this to be asking for donations. Yes, we are asking for donations, and I see all of you pulling your checkbooks out right now. We are in the process as part of that of talking with every single board member. The board members are all supportive of this project, and they are in the process now of determining what their gifts and support will be. So you know that you have the board behind this as well.
Jack.
Yes, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole now, but our staff has been working closely with Astaban Development on Dilworth and how it affects our building. And so if you have questions about that, you can ask us in the reception. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, is inflation really
So he's wondering if inflation is doing anything to the cost. Matt, do you want to take that one?
So at this time, the way we do cost estimating at this level, we are building in both escalation and contingencies with the current context in mind. So they're not just using historical ways, but with the current climate we are in now, we're using that kind of strategy with our professional cost estimators.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that there has been some inflation in building costs.
There has been some inflation in building costs, yes.
So
So they'll all get
fingers
verified
crossed.
when the contractor's on board and that some things are high, some things are low.
So, so we have a question from our online again about, do we anticipate any negative effects to the Athenaeum from the development of the former Dilworth property? It's going to be a 2-year process, not fun for anybody. We will have seismic monitors on site. We have members from the Astaban has a structural engineer, but we have also, we are working with Keast and Hood on our side also to monitor those seismic monitors. We will find out there will be some loss of light undoubtedly with that building, but we also hope that when it's all done, we will have a bunch of new members to the Athenaeum.
Okay, and again, we would welcome additional questions later on. If need be, we can stage a session to answer questions, or we, happy to chat with any of you. But for now, I think it's time to turn to our treasurer's report. And as we do that, I want to thank our treasurer, Don Roberts, for his 8 years on the board. Don is retiring from our board this evening, and I need to say that how invaluable he's been to me, to our board, not only as a financial guru, but as a really trusted counselor and compatriot in preserving and revitalizing the Athenaeum. Don, really, oh, there you are. I really cannot thank you enough. Our board can't thank you enough for all the time and effort and sweat you've put in and the wonderful advice you've rendered. So, treasurer's report.
Thank you, Ned, for your comments, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I apologize because the treasurer's report is, we're going back to the 19th century. We have things written on paper that are on your chair. I think we will have some slides, but this is very much a sort of low overhead presentation, but I think you will be pleased with what you hear, because I'm here tonight to share with you some highlights from our last completed fiscal year, which was June 30th, 2021. And I think at the end of my talk, you will know that as we embark on these projects, we're starting from a very solid, sound financial background. There's an adage in the financial world that good financial results generate short and simple reports, while bad financial results generate long and complicated reports. Tonight, my report will be very short and very simple. So if you would refer to the cover page of your 3-page packet, this is the report of the independent certified public accountants signed by Athenaeum's longtime accounting firm, Tate Weller. And if you look at the bottom, I've circled the paragraph, which includes the statement that all of the financial information found in this report is in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This is the highest rating an audit client can receive from its auditor. So let's move to the second page. And again, I've tried to circle what I think is the most important item for you to look at. This is the statements of operating revenue and expenses. If you look down at the bottom, towards the bottom, you'll see that in 2021 fiscal year, the Athenaeum had a very healthy excess, I would call it surplus, of operating revenue over expenses before depreciation of $201,000. Now, this was aided in fiscal 2021 because the US government gave us a PPP loan in the previous year of $206,000, which was a loan, but we performed as we were asked to do. And so it was forgiven by the federal government, and therefore we recognized it as in the revenue of this past year. Now, let's go to the final page, because I think this is one that really sets the stage for the talk we have about wanting to do more here at the Athenaeum and needing your support, and why, if you give support to the Athenaeum, you should feel comfortable we're going to spend it as we are asking you to give. And so if you look at, there are two items that were circled. The first one is under investments. And at June 30th of 2021, we had $17.3 million in our Vanguard investment account. If you go down a few more lines, you'll see that under other assets, there is a line item of $7.7 million. This is the Athenaeum share of the historic Elkin Trust Fund, which goes back to about 1900. Mr. Elkin, when he died, he named the Athenaeum as one of 5 beneficiaries. And I believe it was probably in those days the Philadelphia National Bank, and they were named as trustee. Wells Fargo, who's successor to Philadelphia National, is the corporate trustee, and we have a $7.3 million of, we were 1/5 of this pool of about $37 million. So at the end of June 2021, the Athenaeum had endowment of $25 million in total, these two pools together, $25 million. Now, I haven't circled, but if you look just below those assets, our total liabilities on June 30th, 2021 was all of $158,000. So it seems to me 25 million here and 158,000 here. This side really weighs. And so I think I wanted to leave with you that thought that when money is given, and a lot of the endowment funds were given by past members, shareholders, we take care of it and carefully manage it. In the interest of time, I will not now entertain any questions, but if you'd like to ask or clarify any aspect of my presentation, please contact Beth Hessel, and she can put you in touch with me. And in closing, I would like to state how much of an honor it has been to serve you as treasurer of the Athenaeum for the past 5 years. I've so enjoyed working with Beth Hessel and her staff, and in particular with Sue Clover, the Athenaeum's bookkeeper. I've also enjoyed serving with my fellow directors, so ably led by Ned Scharf, board president. Shortly, you'll be voting for my successor as treasurer, Michael Horgan. Mike brings an extensive background of accounting and audit to his treasurer duties, as Mike has spent a number of years with PwC, one of America's leading accounting firms. The Athenaeum financial books will be in very good hands. Thank you for your attention and good evening. And now I'll turn the podium back to Ned.
Thank you, Don, for that excellent report, but I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We still need your support. Let me now call upon Scott Donahue, the chair of our governance committee. We have a couple of items that need, more than a couple, that need your approval. Scott?
Good evening, everyone. We have a slate of 7 people to be directors for a 3-year term. Those people are myself, Michael Gary, Hyman Myers, Lee Carson Shirk, Robert Morris Steiner, Richard Bartholomew, and Veronica Chapman Smith. I'm happy to report that the proxies have come back and that slate has been approved. Now, this year, we undertook a substantial project to rework our bylaws. It had been quite a while since we have done that task. It took a lot of effort. We formed a committee, obviously, and we decided that we couldn't just do that work ourselves. We engaged outside legal counsel that specialized in nonprofit organizations like our own to assist us with that important project. And after many months of meetings and conversation, we were able to complete that project. The new bylaws were submitted to each of you to review. I'm sure you took time away from your Netflix shows and read every word of the new bylaws. I'm also happy to report, though, that the new bylaws have been approved, and I want to thank you for your review of them and for any comments and questions that you've had. At this time, are there any questions from the audience? Hearing none, I want to thank you for your time, and we'll get on with the rest of the evening.
So, Beth, it's time for the literary award.
It is. Okay, I have so many pieces of paper here. I can't keep track of them all. So tonight, we celebrate literary excellence. Since 1949, the Athenaeum of Philadelphia has recognized books of outstanding literary merit. Initially, books that were written by authors living within 30 miles of City Hall. And if you do that, you'll find that just leaves out people living in like New Hope or Princeton. Maybe UPenn didn't want that kind of competition. I don't know. But a number of years ago, the committee also created a new committee that focuses on books of art and architecture that meet those same criteria for excellence. So last year's jury updated the guidelines for the Literary Award to honor books of outstanding literary merit by Philadelphia area authors, as well as books whose subject matter focus upon the city of Philadelphia. Winners are chosen by a panel of Athenaeum shareholders, avid readers who serve voluntarily, reading reams of books and meeting regularly to deliberate. The Literary Award itself comes with a $1,000 cash award, and the recipients of both the Literary and the Art and Architecture Literary Awards are invited to give a public lecture with a reception at the Athenaeum. In recognition of his role in establishing the Literary Award, presentations are usually part of the Charles Wharton Stork Memorial Lecture Program, which was endowed in 1983 by his children. Dr. Stork, who lived from 1881 to 1971, was a member of the board of directors from 1919 until 1968. Many years of service. Something every single one of you can aspire to. Members of the Athenaeum's Art and Architecture Book Award were unable to be here to announce the winner of the 2021 award, so they asked me to do it on their behalf. Out of many, many books that they reviewed, the jury chose Temple University Professor of English and American Studies, Dr. Miles Orville's 2021 book, Empire of Ruins. Oh, in fact, I've got it right there. American Photography and the Spectacle of Destruction, which was published by Oxford University Press. The jury describes the book as eminently readable, providing an innovative approach that demonstrates the significant role made by the arts, especially photography, in shaping Americans' attitudes toward the relationship between the destruction of the American landscape, both natural and man-made. It chronicles the impact of photography upon the shift in public perception from the 19th century desire to interpret the historical past to the rise of industrial capitalism that deliberately destroyed the old in favor of building a new, think New York City, described by Orwell as creative destruction. Orwell addresses the destruction wreaked by the 20th and 21st centuries as evidenced by strip mining, vast areas of abandoned factories, and entire neighborhoods in American cities, and the impact of such horrors as the threat of atomic warfare, the destruction of the World Trade Center, and the ongoing assault on the natural environment. Empire of Ruins compels the reader to confront what Orwell describes as the spectacle of ruins and the ethical, moral, and political questions they impose. And the book's about that thick, so it does it succinctly. On learning the news, Dr. Orwell said that it's a privilege, he said, and an honor to be chosen for the Athenaeum Award. Susan Ferber, executive editor at Oxford University Press, noted that we at Oxford University Press are delighted that Miles Orwell's Empire of Ruins, a sustained collaboration between Dr. Orwell and skilled experts in book production that explores the beauty to be found in destruction and disaster, has been chosen the winner of the Athenaeum Literary Award for Art and Architecture. And Dr. Orwell is looking forward to giving a lecture here, once we reopen after our renovation. Now, the Literary Award jury has also met regularly this past year, reading numerous contenders for their award. In February, the Athenaeum announced the shortlist, a highly competitive list of finalists. The 4 shortlisted works for 2021 were Biddle, Jackson, and A Nation in Turmoil, the infamous bank war by our own shareholder member, Cordelia Francis Biddle. My Broken Language, a memoir by Chiara Alegria Hudes, which is also the Free Library of Philadelphia's One Book, One City choice for 2022. Crossing the Line, a fearless team of brothers and the sport that changed their lives forever by Kareem Rosser. And Snow, a history of the world's most fascinating flake by Anthony R. Wood, who is a staff writer at Philadelphia Inquirer. Quite a range. And now I am delighted to turn the podium over to Mr. Franklin Rogers, a member of the Literary Award Committee, to announce the winner of the 2021 Literary Award. Thank you, Lee.
Okay. Well, I'm very pleased to announce the winner of the Literary Award. It's My Broken Language by KieranTimberlake. My Broken Language is a memoir of Ms. Hudes, who grew up in Philadelphia, and it's a vivid and fascinating picture of Latino life in 3 neighborhoods of our city of neighborhoods. The prose is sparkling, the cast of characters engaging, and reading it, one gets the sense of the rich family life in neighborhoods that have many daunting and protracted problems. Finally, if dancing isn't a part of your repertoire, it will be after reading this book. Ms. Hudes went to Central High, Yale for a BA, Brown for an MFA. She's a playwright, producer, lyricist, and essayist. She's won a Pulitzer Prize for Water by the Spoonful and wrote the book for Lynn Emanuel's Into the Heights. and her career is just getting going. We are so pleased to honor this singular achievement in this very special writer, KieranTimberlake.
She did a short little Oscars award speech, which we will share now.
Hello, Athenaeum. I am Chiara Alegria Hudes, and I am thanking you for honoring my book, My Broken Language. Some days it seems as though the longer I live, the more perplexing life becomes. Other days I am mercy to the simple thrill of being in this one moment, surrounded by others in the same gorgeous predicament. Through writing, both of those states coexist, find voice and play their jazzy duet. The confusion, the frustration, the glory, the question that yields rarely an answer, but often the next question. Writing this book, My Broken Language, has provided an extended lesson in real-time healing, what it looks like, how attempts at healing are often met with resistance. To address the wound often requires reopening the wound. To reopen the wound is to look at past suffering squarely and with more experienced eyes. To see old suffering and feel all the ways time did not, in fact, alleviate it. I have learned the trauma of AIDS does not end when the pandemic largely does. I have learned the trauma of addiction does not end when recovery begins. I have learned the trauma of poverty does not end when the paycheck comes, nor does the trauma of segregation end when South, West, and North Philly sit together at the high school cafeteria table. I have learned that every small step matters, though, just like my elders taught me on the dance floor. A tiny dance step is nonetheless a stylish one. Healing takes an entire family, an entire community, an entire city over many generations. That's a lot of footsteps. My book created some healing. It also opened painful questions, the answers toward which I'm still groping. So how does Philly heal? Is full healing even possible? And does it look like a happy group of people living in harmony? Or must the salve perpetually be applied from here to eternity in new ways with each generation to mitigate the wound and give the living space to blossom? I do not know if another Philly Rican family has ever entered the top shelf collection, the vaunted records of the Athenaeum. Now my Perez family, agrarian migrants from Puerto Rico, are part of Philly's paper-bound time capsule. Though since our arrival, we have been part of this city's creation. You honor me, you honor us. Thank you.
Friends, we're so close to the goodies in the reception room. There's been a lot of exciting news, a lot to think about and percolate. But before we end, before our president adjourns this meeting, we want to take time to remember our friends who we lost in this past year. At the Athenaeum, we share and enjoy together as a community as we come together to learn and to enjoy deviled eggs. We also grieve as a community for people who have long been part of our membership. So I invite you to join us for a moment of silence as we see on the screen the names of those we have lost. And if you see a name that is missing, please be sure to let me or another staff member know, because we don't want to miss them and want to be able to recognize them. Remember today, Audrey Ann Bostwick, who was our longest term member. She joined in, I believe, 1943. Honorable Theodore Davis, Dan Peter Koppel, Gabrielle W. Lee, Fred Baker Rogers, and Karen Rosenberg. For these friends, we give thanks for their life and the place they had with us. Thank you.
May I have a motion to adjourn to the other room, please? Thank you. And do I have a second? All in favor? Let's go.